Hi guys! This is the third part of the tutorial to draw a simple floor plan. In the previous video, we learned to create and insert doors, and this time I will teach you a method that helps a lot in drawing windows with different lengths. After that, I will show you how to insert labels on a floor plan, and finally, how to fill with colors enclosed areas, like in this example. Okay, here are the windows I need to create in this drawing. And I'm going to start with this one on the left. Back to the floor plan. Before starting drawing, I have to select the layer which I want the windows in. So I will double click in the layer windows. Now I can start drawing. I will activate the command line to draw all the boundary of the window. You can check the dimensions in the PDF, which I add in the description below. Here I type 550 and then 100 to complete a rectangle. Okay, now that I finished, I need to insert the inner lines, which will be very easy with the command offset. I will type O. I could as well click on the icon above. Now, in this dialog box, I will type through. I press enter. Now I select the line I want to offset and click in the position I want to place it. It's 50 mm to the right or 5 small grid squares. Then I select this new line and I will offset it to the other side. And don't forget, you should have the snap mode and the grid mode turned on to do this with precision. It's very important. Next, I will do the same for the horizontal lines. I select this one. I have set it at 40 mm from the first one. And now 20. After I have to delete these parts, I'm going to use the command trim. I select everything, press enter, and click in the parts I want to delete. To finish, you can press enter again. Okay, the first window is done. We can now proceed to the second. And for this one, instead of drawing everything again, I'm going to use a faster method. I turn on the command copy. I select all the lines of my first window. Press enter. Pick one point and copy it, for example here. Now I want to stretch the window in order to measure 1000 mm of length. I will use the command stretch by typing S or clicking in the icon located in the section Modify above. So now I select the objects that I want to stretch. I press enter. I specify a base point. And oh no, it's not working as I want. This line is moving too. And to avoid that happening, I should keep that line unselected. Going back, I activate stretch. And when I select the objects, I will keep now this line unselected. And when I press enter, I click on the base point, and now works perfectly. So I have to type 500 because in addition to the current length of 500, will match the value of 1000. If I use now the command distance, I can confirm the new length of the window. Here it is precisely. For the third window, I will draw first half of the drawing and then I can copy or mirror it. This time I'm going to use my second window as reference. I will copy it Now I will place the new one below, for example. I press escape to deactivate the command. And now with stretch, I'm going to do the same process. Select the lines. I click on the base point, and as the new distance is 750, I will shrink the window by moving left and type 250 because it's the value I need to deduct. Again, with the command distance, I will confirm the distance of 750. Well, the window is not finished. I'm going to use the command mirror. In this case, I could also use copy. I press enter. I select all the objects. And for the mirror line, I have to place it here. I click again. I choose no. And it's done. I finally created the 3 types of windows that I will need in this drawing. As well as the doors, I am going to create a block for each window. First, I will do the one of length 500. After typing the name, I click OK. Now I click in Select Objects, so I will select the window that I want. Now OK again. Then I click on Redefine. Click to specify the base point, and the block is done. Then I have to do the same for the remaining 2. Okay, now that I converted to blocks all the 3 windows, I will insert them in the drawing, like I did before for the doors. First, I will copy the windows. I select the objects and press enter. I click on the base point and place them aside. To rotate the windows, I type RO or click in this icon. I select Objects, press enter. I specify a base point and then I rotate 90 degrees. Now I'm going to insert the windows in the drawing. I activate Copy. I choose this one, for example, and I will copy it to its right place. I keep the pointer in the corner, then I drag it slowly up until I see the label extension here. Immediately in that moment, I type the value of 50, which is the distance from that corner the window has to be. Then I will insert this window at the bottom as well, and this time the distance will be 150 because I start from the exterior corner. Well, I keep doing this process until I insert all the windows. The next section of this tutorial is to insert labels as a text, like you see in this example. Okay, first I have to create a new layer and I will name it text. I keep the color white and I will double click on it to activate it. To start typing text, I will click in the icon above and for this case I choose single line. Now I have to click where I want to type the text. Then I have to specify the height, which I can either click with the mouse or specify a number. I will type 200. For the rotation angle, the direction of this line will match the direction of my text. I press enter and I can start writing. For this first room is the living room, and when I finish, I click in another place and press escape. Next, I am going to show you the technique that I use to insert labels in all the rooms, keeping the same text format. I'm going to activate the command copy. When it says select objects, I select my text, press enter, then I click for the base point and start clicking in every room to copy the text. When I finish, as I don't want all the rooms to be living rooms, I will change the label names by double-clicking in each one. Next one is the bathroom, and I will keep it till I finish all. So it's done. For this plan, it was quite fast, but if you have large drawings with dozens of rooms, you can save some time by doing this technique. Now, imagine that I want to edit the labels by, for example, increasing the text height. That could take a long time if you need to change a lot of them. So, we will go to the Layer Properties Manager, right-click, and click in Select All but Current. It means that I select all layers except the one is active, with the tick here. Now I click on this light to switch off the selected layers. Then I select all the text. After I go to one base point, do right click and click in Properties. It opens this window and here I can do any change that I want. For example, I want to change the height to 300. Now look at the workspace and you will notice the difference. I can now close the Properties window. Finally, I click again in one light to switch on again the layers. To move the position of one text, click in the text, click now in the blue square which is the base point and move to where you would like it. In the next section, I am going to explain you the command hatch. This tool allows me to fill with colors closed boundaries. For example, the internal section of these walls. Okay, I will show you how it works. First of all, I will add a new layer which I call it hatch. Now, to activate this command, I click in the icon located in the section Draw, or use the shortcut H. Now, choose a close boundary. I will click here, but I notice that it's filling the section in pink instead of green, the color I used for the command hatch. And why it happened? It was because my active layer is Windows, and I need to change it to the layer hatch. So I double click in hatch here and I move the pointer into the wall. Now it's green, so it's fine. I click and keep clicking on the other areas I want to fill, which are all the walls. When I finish, I press enter to exit the command. Now, if I click in one of the colored areas, I realize that all of them will be selected, because it's considered as only one object. And if I make any changes, they will apply for all the areas. So, if I want some areas to act separately, it's easy. I activate hatch. Now I click in a close boundary and press enter. Then I press enter again to reactivate the same command and click in another area. Now these areas act as two different objects and they can be edited separately. Another option is to choose the pattern that I want. There is a plenty of types in this list, and if I click in this icon, I can check them all. There are gradients, lines, bricks, and so on. So, it's all from the part 3 of this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching and subscribe the channel to get easy access to my complete list of tutorials. Thanks again and see you next time.